3 days after her father died, she was sitting in a funeral director's office holding her credit card. The deposit was £900. It had to be paid before the funeral could happen. Nobody in that room asked whether she could afford it, and nobody told her she didn't have to. This is a story about the most expensive week of an ordinary family's life, and about a debt that almost nobody understands until they are already carrying it. The office was quiet and kind. Soft chairs, a box of tissues, a folder of coffins with names like the Windsor. She had never seen the price of a coffin before. You only learn these numbers once you are already inside. And here is the thing about that room. Nobody wants to be the person who says the cheaper one about their own father. Every choice comes in 3 versions. Every upgrade is £100 here, £200 there, and every single one of them feels like love. So the numbers climbed, gently, politely. The service, the cars, the flowers, the order of service with his photograph on the front. By the end, the total was £4,600. The deposit took what was left of her savings. The rest arrived as a bill soon after the funeral. That is when funeral bills arrive. After, £3,700 went on her credit card. The funeral itself, she barely remembers. It passed in a blur of handshakes and sandwiches. What she remembers is the envelope 3 weeks later. Not the eulogy, the statement. So how does an ordinary family with an ordinary dad end up financing his goodbye like a sofa? Her dad was not careless with money. He just never had any spare. A state pension, a rented flat, no savings, no funeral plan. He didn't like talking about dying, so nobody did. And nobody teaches you the timetable of death. The funeral has to be arranged within days. The deposit is usually due before the service can take place. The biggest financial decisions of the year get made in the worst week of your life, by people who haven't slept. She is not unusual. Among families who struggle with funeral costs, more than 1 in 5 put the balance on a credit card. Nearly 1 in 4 borrow from family or friends. She did both, in a way, the card in her name, and her brother's promise to send money every month. The promise was sincere, it still is. Some months the money comes, some months it doesn't. He is not a villain, he is stretched like everyone else. But the contract has one signature on it, hers. Grief was shared between them. The debt was not. At the time, she assumed it would work itself out. Dad's estate would cover it, surely, or the government would help. 2 reasonable assumptions, both wrong. And the reasons they were wrong are the real story here. Step back from her kitchen table and look at the country. A simple funeral in Britain costs £3,828 on average. With the extras most families choose, the flowers, the cars, the catering, the average spend is £5,140. Costs have risen by 1/3 since 2019. Nobody budgets for this. There is no direct debit labeled goodbye. So families bridge the gap however they can. Savings, if there are any. Installments, if anyone mentions they exist. Loans. Family, credit cards. And among the families who struggle, 7 in 10 say the money strain affects their mental health. Grief and debt arriving in the same envelope. What about help from the state? There is some. It is called the funeral expenses payment. It is real, and for some families it matters. But it is narrow. You have to be on a qualifying benefit to get it. Universal credit, pension credit, housing benefit. If nobody in the household is claiming a qualifying benefit, there is usually no help at all. And even if you qualify, it covers the burial or cremation fee, then caps almost everything else. The funeral director, the coffin, the flowers, all of that capped at £1,000. against a £4,600 funeral. The government's own guidance says the payment will not usually cover all of the costs of a funeral. It has covered only a fraction of the real cost for years. And if you do qualify, the claim must be made within 6 months of the funeral. And below all of this, there is a flaw almost nobody talks about. When nobody can pay at all, the council has to step in. These are called public health funerals. More than 4,400 of them in England in a single recent year, rising by nearly a quarter across 2/3 of English councils. That is the quiet scale of families priced out of saying goodbye. Meanwhile, her card balance sits at the average UK credit card rate, around 27%. At minimum payments, a funeral barely shrinks. It just follows you. Now here is the part almost nobody in that office knows. The part that changes how this debt should feel. When someone dies, their debts are paid from whatever they leave behind. Their estate. If they leave nothing, those debts are written off. Nobody inherits them, not a wife, not a husband, not a child. Her dad had an overdraft when he died. It died with him. The bank wrote it off and closed the account, so his debts ended. And the only debt that survived him was the one created to bury him. And that debt was never his. The funeral contract is a new agreement in a living person's name. From the moment she paid that £900 deposit, this was her debt, owed to her card company, at her interest rate. It never touched her father's estate at all. There is a rule that should have softened this. Funeral costs are first in line to be repaid from an estate before almost any other claim. But first claim on nothing is nothing. His estate was empty. There was nothing to claim back from. And here is the sentence nobody said to her in that quiet office, with the tissues and the folder. No family member is required by law to arrange or pay for a funeral. If nobody takes it on, the council has a legal duty to provide one. This is not to say she should have walked away. Almost nobody walks away. That is the point. For a family with nothing behind them, the system offers a choice between a council funeral and personal debt. It gives them days to decide. It caps its contribution at £1,000. That is the help on offer. The letters still come, addressed to her dad. Statements for accounts that are already closed. The regulator has found that some firms handle bereavement badly, chasing debts that are already settled. If those letters frighten you, the confusion is usually theirs. Unless a debt was joint or you personally guaranteed it, a debt in his name alone was never yours to pay. And the debt that is real, the one on her card, is an ordinary consumer debt, which means free debt advice like step change applies to it the same as any other. For months she read that card balance as proof the family had got something wrong, spent too much, planned too little, loved unwisely. But look at it again. She loved someone in a country where a goodbye costs thousands, where the bill arrives with a deadline, where the help is capped and gatekept. The balance on that card is not a record of carelessness. It is a record of care. If any of this is close to your life, there is one move worth knowing about. There is a free service called Down to Earth, run by the charity Quaker Social Action. It exists for exactly this: people facing a funeral they cannot afford, and people already in debt from one. Before a funeral, they help compare quotes and find options nobody mentions in the quiet office. Afterwards, they help with the debt that is already there. They have helped more than 9,500 people through the worst week. And what follows it? She still has the card. The balance is smaller now. Her brother sends what he can. And if you ever find yourself in that office with the soft chairs and the folder of coffins, she would tell you what nobody told her. The timetable feels absolute. It isn't. There is someone you can call before you sign anything, and even after you have. If this helped, you can subscribe for more calm explanations of money, pressure, and real life in the UK.